Carrie Underwood is addressing The View in a way we haven't seen before. The situation is real, and the stakes are high. $800 million high. That's right. Carrie is taking legal action involving the hosts of The View, including Joy Behar and Sunny Hostin, over comments she feels were harmful. So, how did it all begin? It started when Carrie Underwood made the personal decision to perform at Donald Trump's inauguration.
If you know the words, help me out here. Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesties above the fruited plain.
The heart of the scandal is nothing short of explosive. An $800 million defamation lawsuit that has left fans stunned, executives scrambling, and critics watching every single move. Carrie isn't playing games. She's coming for reputations, careers, and a payday that could rewrite TV history. It all began when Carrie made the unexpected announcement that she would perform at Donald Trump's inauguration, a decision that sent shockwaves across the entertainment industry and far beyond. Some saw it as a brave stand for unity, while others labeled it an unforgivable betrayal. The internet reacted like a powder keg, igniting in real time. Supporters flooded social media with praise for Carrie's courage and patriotism, while critics launched a furious wave of outrage that seemed to grow more hostile by the minute. The digital storm was relentless and unyielding. Carrie herself tried to keep things dignified, stating in an interview that she loved her country and was honored to perform at such a historic event.
Carrie Underwood will take the stage at Trump's inauguration singing America the Beautiful. She said to the Post, "I love our country and I'm honored to have been asked to sing at the inauguration and to be a small part of this historic event. I am humbled to answer the call at a time when we must all come together in the spirit of unity and looking to the future." Well, that wasn't good enough for the tolerant left, of course, who is outraged over Carrie being outed as MAGA. X is blowing up with jokes about how she should sing her hit song Before He Cheats. Some are calling for her to be boycotted and canceled. John Rich weighed in, saying there are several top-tier country artists who support Trump, and I wish they'd finally have the balls to come forward and be counted. Ain't nothing outlaw about keeping your mouth shut to appease the record label. Carrie Underwood is making you look like a bunch of sissy boys. Carrie is talented, she is graceful, she is a class act, she has great legs, not that it matters, but she is everything that the tolerant left is not.
She called for unity, hope, and a future where Americans could come together. But her heartfelt words only seemed to fuel the anger of her most determined detractors. The backlash reached a boiling point when some on social media began mocking her, making cruel jokes and suggesting she should sing Before He Cheats at the ceremony as a political jab. Boycotts were demanded and cancel culture's claws were fully extended. Even prominent country figure John Rich jumped into the fray, slamming the hypocrisy of the outrage and praising Carrie for having the courage so many others lacked. He called her a class act, talented, graceful, fearless, and everything her critics could never be. But just when it looked like the controversy might cool down, The View decided to pour gasoline on the fire. Joy Behar and Sunny Hostin took their seats and delivered remarks so sharp they sliced through the air like knives on live television. Joy, never one to shy away from bold statements, openly questioned Carrie's patriotism and accused her of normalizing someone she believed was a dangerous figure for the country. Her tone was sharp, her words were pointed, and the intention behind them left no room for doubt. Sunny was right there to back her up, declaring without hesitation that she would never accept such an invitation and implying that Carrie's choice was beyond questionable.
So I think people feel pretty strongly about it. I think art is art, and you know, you have a right to perform where you want to perform. I agree with you, Joy. I can't sing a lick, but I certainly, and I have not been asked, but if I were asked, it would be a hard no.
The conversation quickly shifted from political debate to personal attack, and the atmosphere turned toxic. Viewers across the nation were stunned. Fans of Carrie Underwood were outraged at the public character assassination they had just witnessed, and social media erupted once again with an even bigger wave of anger and defense. Carrie stayed silent in public, but behind the scenes, she was preparing a response so devastating that it would send shockwaves through the entire talk show industry. She was not just going to defend herself, she was going to set an example. And then the bombshell dropped. Carrie Underwood filed an $800 million defamation lawsuit against The View and its hosts. It was a move so bold that it left the entertainment world gasping for air. Her legal team accused Joy and Sunny of crossing the line from criticism into outright defamation, claiming their comments had caused serious harm to her reputation and public image. This was no longer just about political opinion. It was about justice. The tables turned instantly. The once confident hosts of The View suddenly found themselves under intense scrutiny, with reports emerging that they were desperate to settle the matter before it spiraled out of control. But Carrie was not interested in quick fixes or backroom deals. She was determined to hold them accountable, not just for herself, but for every public figure who has been unfairly targeted by reckless commentary. The announcement sent shockwaves through social media once again, but this time the tide was overwhelmingly in Carrie's favor. Fans rallied behind her, calling her brave, fearless, and exactly the kind of role model America needed.
Do the spa day.
I'm not even going to tell you what I'm doing. What was it? I'm not telling. No, I'm not talking. I'm not telling. No, because it was always in the books. Who knew this was going to be the day that it chose? Because it's also a very interesting day, right? The 21st.
It's Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you can choose to celebrate it how you want. You can honor MLK.
I'm going to honor him and at
And
the
get a
spa.
spa
At the spa.
treatment.
Well, as long as it's a free country and it holds, I
Yes.
would agree with everybody. It is a free country at the moment.
Well, yeah. You know, but it's up to us to make sure that doesn't start to change.
Yes.
Right.
You know,
Well,
that's
we're trying.
Well, we're trying, yes. And it's important not to forget that we have that right. It is up to us.
Yeah.
Now, there are other people performing too, and I don't really even want to bring it up.
Carrie Underwood isn't just defending herself. She's standing up for everyone who's been attacked by a toxic media culture. The public sentiment was turning into a tidal wave of support. Memes flooded the internet. Carrie smiling serenely with captions like, "Grace under fire," while images of Joy looking furious were paired with the words, "When you realize you messed with the wrong one." The cultural backlash against The View was hitting hard. Rumors began swirling that higher-ups at the network were pressuring Joy Behar and Sunny Hostin to issue public apologies to Carrie in a desperate attempt to calm the storm before it destroyed the show's reputation completely. Behind closed doors, the tension was unbearable, but issuing an apology wasn't going to be easy for the fiery co-hosts who had built their brand on never backing down. Pride clashed with survival instincts, and insiders say heated arguments were breaking out in the dressing rooms over what to do next. Even Whoopi Goldberg, who typically rushes to defend her co-hosts, remained noticeably silent this time. Sources claimed she was working behind the scenes to mediate, but the backlash was simply too big for even her influence to control. The pressure from viewers was mounting by the day. Fans were calling for Joy and Sunny to be removed from the show altogether, arguing that their comments were more like personal attacks than professional critique. Social media wasn't letting up either. Hashtags like #FireJoy and #FireSunny began trending as angry users demanded accountability from ABC for allowing such remarks to go unchecked on live television. Carrie, meanwhile, remained calm and composed, letting her legal team do the talking while she focused on her career.
No, I wouldn't do it, even though I
You
can't
would not sing?
No, I would not. I would not normalize him. And she says, I love our country. How do you love your country and support and normalize somebody who was a convicted felon who really wants to destroy the country, in my opinion? I don't understand how you say you love your country at the same time as you normalize this convicted felon, which I can say now.
Her silence was powerful. It made her look confident, unshaken, and in complete control of the situation. The narrative began shifting in her favor even more when legal experts started weighing in on the case. Many pointed out that if Carrie's lawsuit succeeded, it could set a precedent for how talk shows handle their commentary about public figures moving forward. Some media analysts even speculated that this case could change the entire landscape of televised opinion shows, forcing hosts to be far more careful with their words or risk facing similar multi-million-dollar lawsuits. And yet, inside the View's studios, the mood was anything but calm. Staffers whispered about contingency plans, with rumors suggesting that ABC was already considering replacements in case Joy or Sonny's careers became too damaged to continue. All the while, Carrie's fan base grew louder and more united. Country music fans, political independents, and even people who had never followed her career before were rallying behind her for what they saw as a fight for fairness and decency in media. ABC was stuck in a lose-lose situation: settle the lawsuit and admit defeat, or fight it in court and risk even more damaging headlines dragging out over months. Either way, the network's image was taking a beating it might never fully recover from. The View's producers reportedly considered doing a damage control episode where the hosts could address the controversy head-on, but the idea was met with skepticism. Some feared it would only reignite the outrage instead of calming it. Carrie's legal filing was meticulous and thorough, outlining in detail how Joy and Sonny's comments had gone beyond opinion.
Country superstar Carrie Underwood has spent most of her career avoiding political talk, but she's set to perform at the upcoming inauguration. She said in a statement that she's doing it because the country must come together in the spirit of unity and look to the future. And lots of her fans aren't thrilled about it, but lots of her fans are. So let's put this in perspective here. What do y'all think?
I personally hope we're moving beyond the era of politics where we want to cancel people's livelihoods because we don't like their politics. And whether it was the Dixie Chicks for criticizing George Bush, didn't agree with it then, and Carrie Underwood, if you have a problem, you register your complaint by not downloading her songs and not going to her shows.
Right.
But I also think from a business standpoint, it's not a bad decision for Carrie Underwood. 75 million people voted for Trump. Artists tend to skew left-leaning, so she's overnight going to become an icon of MAGA and the American right. She's probably going to make a lot of money off of it. So I get why she did it.
I say.
And directly harmed her reputation. Every sentence was designed to show the court that this wasn't about hurt feelings. It was about measurable damage. Journalists began digging into past episodes of The View, resurfacing other controversial remarks Joy and Sonny had made about public figures. This created a second wave of bad press for the show, with critics claiming this was part of a pattern, not a one-time slip. Carrie's supporters pointed out that the lawsuit was about more than just one celebrity feud. It was about drawing a line in the sand against reckless and inflammatory commentary. And for many Americans watching, that message resonated deeply. Even late-night comedians began making jokes about the situation, painting The View as the show that talked itself into an $800 million disaster. The laughter came at Joy and Sunny's expense, but it also kept the story in the headlines night after night. What made the situation even more remarkable was Carrie's refusal to be baited into a public shouting match. She didn't give interviews trashing the hosts or rant on social media. She simply let the lawsuit speak for itself, and that quiet confidence was proving to be devastating for her opponents. The walls were closing in on The View as the lawsuit rolled forward like a freight train, with no brakes. Every new headline seemed to dig the hole deeper, and the once untouchable confidence of Joy Behar and Sunny Hostin was beginning to crack under the weight of relentless public scrutiny. Insiders whispered that ABC's top brass were holding emergency meetings almost daily, desperate to find a path out of the disaster.
So I have nothing to say.
Yeah. They're not asking any of us.
No, you do what you do. Listen, it's like, people do what they do for whatever reasons. It's like Joe and Mika.
Some executives reportedly argued that a public apology and a large settlement might save face, while others feared that any admission of wrongdoing would be a death blow to the network's credibility. Joy, known for her sharp tongue and stubborn personality, was said to be furious behind the scenes, insisting she had a right to her opinion. But legal experts warned her that, opinion or not, the way her comments were framed on air could be legally interpreted as damaging to Carrie's reputation in a way that crossed the line. Sunny, on the other hand, was allegedly much more rattled, with sources saying she was privately worried about the long-term impact on her career. The thought of having her name forever linked to one of the biggest defamation lawsuits in television history was weighing heavily on her. Meanwhile, Carrie continued her silence, a move that only made her appear stronger in the eyes of the public. Without a single angry outburst or emotional statement, she managed to keep the focus entirely on the facts of her lawsuit, while Joy and Sunny's on-air history was dissected in real time. Even late-night hosts who had once joked about the lawsuit began treating it more seriously, acknowledging that Carrie's case could set a precedent that might change TV forever. The tone of the coverage had shifted from mockery to curiosity, and even respect. Behind the scenes, legal analysts said The View was facing an uphill battle if they chose to fight all the way in court.
At the historic event of the inauguration of the President of the United States of America, and that she's un-American for doing so.
I mean,
it's so ridiculous. So ridiculous.
They're living, it's as though the election never stopped for them.
The combination of public sentiment, mounting evidence, and the optics of attacking a beloved country music icon made the odds look grim for Joy and Sunny. Carrie, meanwhile, carried herself with grace, attending award shows and charity events as if the media storm swirling around her was nothing more than background noise. Her poise became part of the story, with one headline reading, "Grace Under Fire: How Carrie Won the PR War Before the Court Battle Began." By the time the pre-trial hearings began, it was clear that this was no longer just a legal case. It was a cultural reckoning. Media outlets everywhere were debating whether The View had finally crossed a line too far, and what it would mean for the future of televised commentary.